Hi and good day to Dr. Abdullah, and today we are going to present our analysis on reading comprehension test item. Our groups consist of 4 members, which is me, Goh Pei Gee, Tiong, Kmilasheni, and also Sollehuddin. For the first thing that we're going to present today is composition of the test. For the composition of the test, we having 4 sections for our test paper, and each of the section is 5 questions. And for the first section, true false question. The second one is grammar, which is also a multiple choice question, but mainly asking about grammar. And the third section is Roman style, and also the fourth section, which is subjective. And the main skill that is tested in this test will be reading comprehension skills, and the sub skills is scanning and skimming, and also intensive reading skills, which need the test takers to read the text and knowing the meaning behind of the text.
Okay, for the next one, this is the background of the test takers and construction of the test. Our test had 19 participants. It was the same participant for both first time and second time test taking. And the respondents are 4th year tester undergraduates from UTM. Okay, next, mother tongue of the respondents. Most of the respondents, about 13 of them, with Malay mother tongue. For the second one, Tamil and Iban with 2% each. And for English and Mandarin with 1% each. Next one. Here is the table 2 for participants' Mohd achievement. Here, most of them they have scored band 4 in Mohd previously, with 13 of them which scored the highest percentage, 68.4. The second one is band 5, with 4 of them scored band 5 with 21.1%, and the third one is band 3, with 2 of them scored 10.5%. And for our test takers, for our test that we have constructed, the test is according to Sppl B2 language proficiency, and the test consists of 4 sections, which from section 1 until section 2 is multiple choice question MCQ, and section 4 is subjective question with only 1 word answer.
So, before we go into the validity and reliability, I would like to briefly tell the differences between these two. Okay, validity and reliability are 2 different aspects that influence the quality of an item. And the keyword to understand validity, we have to think, does it test what it is supposed to test? So that is a keyword to understand validity, because if we wanted to evaluate the students' language proficiency, obviously we have to give them language proficiency questions, right? We cannot give them mathematical questions because that wouldn't be considered as valid. Meanwhile, the keywords to understand reliability is, does it produce a similar result when the test is repeated? We can understand reliability as the consistency, and we have to take note that in most cases, a reliable method is not always valid, but if it is a valid method, then it has a high probability of its being reliable. Okay, meanwhile, coming to the questions. Okay, validity is the quality determiner of a test. To answer the question on does the test that we design here is valid or not, yes, it is valid because it measures the test taker's reading comprehension skills, because they have to understand deeply the passage given, and only by deep understanding they are able to answer those questions provided correctly. And because of that, the items ask the comprehension questions from the given questions. Okay, so that is for the in terms of validity. Next slide. To take a look at the reliability, we have to put a side-by-side comparison, and we also conducted the test 2 times under the same circumstances as similar as possible. So you can see there from the table, the one that I have highlighted with yellow colors are the one that have a very huge or very significant gap between the first and the second time. Okay, next slide. Reliability is the differences between the first time and the second time score. This is according to Nunali, 1978. The relationship between differences is inversely proportional with the reliability, meaning if the differences are small, then the reliability is high. But if the differences are huge, massive, or significant, then the reliability is low. So from our question, 80% of the items have less than 5 different score gaps. Meanwhile, only 20% of them have more than 5 different score gaps. So in general, we can conclude that the test that we created has an adequate amount of reliability. Okay, so that is for me. Next, I will pass to the next members.
This table shows the difficulty index and discrimination index of each test items. There are 20 test items in total. As we can see, the third column shows the difficulty index, while the fourth column shows the difficulty index, while the fifth column shows the discrimination index. Can you move to the next slide? All right, so this is the continuation from the slide before that. For the next part, we'll pass to my group member.
For difficulty index, first of all, what is difficulty index? According to Goh and also Jalil 2012, the percentage of students who correctly answer the item is the difficulty index, which also called is index. And for our test, the question 20 is in the scale of 0.0, which is very difficult, and question 16 in the scale of 1.05, which is very easy. So basically, I analyzed by choosing the first is very difficult one and the second is a very easy one. And overall, for our test, most of the question falls on this average or moderately scale reading for difficulty index. All right, for the next part, I'm going to pass to our next member.
So next is about discrimination index. So the formula for discrimination index is the upper group of the participants minus lower group, and then the answer will be divided by half of the participants. So the discrimination index is divided into 5 categories, which are poor, not discriminating, moderately discriminating, discriminating, and very discriminating. As we can see from the table, most of our test items, which are 7 to be exact, falls under poor item category, which all of their discrimination index are below 0.10. Next is not discriminating categories, which 4 test items fall under the categories, and the discrimination index are between 0.10 to 0.19. And next is moderately discriminating items, which 5 of them fall under moderately discriminating categories, and all of their discrimination index are between 0.20 until 0.29, and none of our test items fall under discriminating categories. And lastly, 4 of our test items fall under the very discriminating category, which all of their discrimination index are above 0.40. For the next part, we'll pass to our next member.
For the next part, we will talk about the highest and lowest quality of the test items that we have created. Item 18 and item 19 are example of good questions. They have an average difficulty score and is very discriminating scale. These 2 questions are in subjective question. This type of questions can be given to students with higher proficiency, as it can really test their understanding based on the reading comprehension that we have given to. The next one is to the lowest quality of test item. These are item 4 and item 11. They have poor discriminating scale and falls into easier scale. This shows that both of these questions are not challenging enough for the student. Next one is item 20 is another example of poor question. It has poor discriminating scale and falls into very difficult scale. This question hinders students from answering the question properly. As conclusion, improvement is needed for the stats of reading test. The choice of questions needs to be reviewed, especially for the subjective question. We have presented the test items with data from variability, validity, difficulty index, and discriminating index. So overall, our test items need more improvement. So that's all for our today. Thank you.